Hey guys, subscribe for daily content. And if you're shopping for gear, make sure you check out the description for the newest items at some of the very best online retailers. There's also links for some of the items that I personally recommend. Thanks!
What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got another interesting knife review slash knife overview to share with you guys. This is the Moyeworks Buffalo 2. Here's your pouch right there. Who the heck is that? I don't really know. It's another brand. I mean, there's so many brands coming out. This is manufactured by Riot, which I think is, and it's nothing against the Moyeworks brand, right? There's just a lot of new brands. I want to know who made it. Riot made this. It's very apparent, right? This is a really, really cool knife. I think it's flying under the radar for a lot of people. I liked it when I unboxed it. I liked it more and more and more the more I carried and used it. I think it's actually very, very well thought out. And it's super cool, especially if you kind of like that tactical look without it going too far overboard. I can't wait to tell you about this. Thanks so much to Moyeworks for sending it in. I will link it down in the description. They're not affiliate links for this knife, but it's fine. I'll still link it down there. Thanks so much to my patrons for supporting me. Make sure your notifications are turned on for the Metal Complex YouTube channel, especially if you don't want to miss my weekend giveaways. Overall lengths of the Buffalo 2, which I believe they said is based on the MPK Buffalo fixed blade that they did or somebody else did. It says on the website. 7.85 inches overall blade length is coming in at 3.5 inches, and your cutting edge is 3 inches. So basically a full-size knife. Let's go ahead and do some size comparisons. Any custom skills you can you find in this section can be found down in the description under Original Goat and Others. Up against the 8010 and my own Excalibur. You can see it's not quite as big as these knives, but these knives are pretty big, 8.5 inches, right? So it's not quite as big, but still a full-size knife. Let's put it up against the Spyderco PM2 and the Spyderco Parrot 3. Closer to the size of the PM2, and I think actually your blade, like your cutting edge length, is almost identical. So there you go. And then finally, let's put it up against the Benchmade Griptilian, or in this case, the Ritter Hogue and the Hogue Deca. How is the action on this knife? It's pretty good, pretty smooth. Pretty good. We got the thumb flick, got the reverse flick. This runs on washers. For that much money, it should run on bearings. Oh, he's got one goober. If you type this, stop typing it. Stop that. Because everybody else in the enthusiast knife community, I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just trying to help you out here, okay? Trying to, you know, if you want a big neon sign above your head that says, I have no idea what I'm talking about, I haven't been here very long and I'm trying to fit in, then keep saying that. But my advice would be stop, because the internal pivot system has essentially nothing to do with not only the price tag, but the tier of knife that it is. Between washers, phosphor bronze, and bearings, they exist at all price points. The only time a pivot system will have anything to do with the price point or the tier of knife is when it is some sort of proprietary, super special, custom system that is designed internally and is applied to a specific model. Then sure. Outside of that, it is quite literally just preference, and it comes down to, like, how do you want the action to feel? Do you care about debris being able to get into the pivot and mess with it, right? For example, bearings, generally, if the manufacturing tolerances are very high, bearings are going to yield smoother action. If you like that drop shutty action, right, you want all that. Phosphor bronze, typically not quite as good as your top tier bearings in terms of action. Many companies can do it really well. Benchmade does bearing or does phosphor bronze really, really well, right? But the huge benefit to phosphor bronze is that they're self-lubricating, and they also keep debris out of the pivot, which is really important to people who work in super dirty, dusty, or gritty environments. Me personally, I don't work in those environments, so bearings work just fine for me. But if I was going to work in those environments, the bearings would immediately clog up and not work. Nylon, same idea as phosphor bronze. Sometimes can be slightly smoother. They're also not quite as durable, right? But these are not indicative of, like, the tier. You can get bearings on a $20 knife nowadays or less. So don't say that anymore. It's not correct. This does phosphor bronze really well. It is smooth and snappy. It's not going to be drop shut, right? Gonna have a little excess friction there, but not much. Riot does a good job. I really wish that other companies would at least attempt this, because there are people who are like, listen, I'm interested in this level of quality, this tier, but everything is on bearings. And while I love the drop shuttiness, I love all that, sometimes I just need something that has a pivot system that's set up for some of the dirtier environments. Here you go. This is built like a tool. It's cool, it's fancy, but it's definitely built like a tool. Riot did a great job with these washers. Really, really nice. I like it a lot. Access to the lock bar is also great. You can wheel this thing out. You can do the reverse flick. I'd use your fingernail. Me to the finger is probably going to get stuck like that. Using your fingernail to reverse flick it, if you can catch it just right, which now I'm forgetting the angle. If you can get under that just right, you can do the reverse flick, but you really don't need to. Can you use these little holes for anything? No, not really. Right? I think the D10 is really just right to use this thumb stud here. It's not domed off, it's not rounded perfectly, but I do have good access to it. It's not uncomfortable to deploy. Nice job there. Carry profile, thickness up against the Spyderco Para 3. It's maybe a hair thicker, not much. Length and height up against the PM2 and Para 3. Not really a bulky object to carry. In fact, not really any bigger than the Spyderco Para 3. This was a joy to carry outside of one little thing. Little tiny thing. And it's subjective. Where this thing truly shines is its weight. We have M390. By the way, this is DLC. Riot's M390 is 60 to 61 even when they have DLC. Thank you, Riot, for at least getting it to where we consider like the start of like a good heat treat on M390. Thank you. So many other companies are like, well, oh, where does the community want it? 60 to 61 minimum? You know what? Let's go a point or two lower than that just because. Right? Why do companies do that? Just like it's, from what I understand, it's really not that difficult. So I don't know why. Anyways, Riot has decided to just hit it where it should be. So that's good. Yes, it can go higher, but acceptable. 60, 61, even on your DLC blades, that's great. Carbon fiber textured. It's got a nice texture to it that's grippy, but not too much. It feels purposeful. I like it. And it still allows the carbon fiber to look good and not cheap. Like it a lot. Weight. 3.3 ounces. That's awesome. Considering you have a 3.5 inch blade with 3 inches of cutting edge. The balance on this thing is right behind the pivot. We are 0.3 ounces from what I consider to be ultra lightweight. This is a pretty serious tool for 3.3 ounces of weight. I was really impressed with that. I think that's awesome. There's way more to, as much as I like the wild and crazy fancy stuff, this is an expensive knife, but there's so much more functionally great about this knife. This is way more knife than it is jewelry, which is typically what we see at this price point, right? Still fancy. A lot of people will still call this pocket jewelry, but well within the realm, the price range where people primarily are still carrying this stuff, right? A lot of people think anything past $100 and nobody's carrying it. We polled this. Actually, quite a ways north of 500, knives are still getting carried more often than they are save queened. It's not really until you get up there $800, $900, $1,000 where the vast majority of the actual buyers, not the peanut gallery and people guessing, not just people in the community like if it were me, the people who are actually buying this stuff. It's not until you get up there $700, $800, $1,000. That's where the collector, like the save queen stuff, is primarily, you know, the knives are getting shelved rather than pocketed. This still within a range where it's getting pocketed by buyers. So it's nice that it's got the tool elements. Let's go ahead and do a hardware check. I'll get out my tools. As per usual, my tools are very inexpensive and very recommendable. You can find them right down in the section of my description that talks about the tools I use on this channel. I believe that's a T8. I think Riot just went ahead and did T8. Yeah, it looks like this is like a hex, you know, whatever. It's a T8. And then you have, these are like the threads. So it's really just on this side. T8, T8, and then pocket clip screws. T8 for pocket clip screws. What about all these? You don't actually have to mess with those because that is how the lock bar attaches to the carbon fiber scales. So you can just leave those there. I mean, if you want to, some people just have to take them out. Like if you're that type of person, I'm not coming down on you. If you're the type of person who just has to take every single screw out of the thing that you bought just to see it all taken apart, well, you got a bunch of crap to take out of there. For everybody else, I'd say just leave it. Just leave it in there. Everything's T8, good to go, as long as you have the right tools for the job. Really, really cool. Blade stock thickness, I'm going to guess that's about 130-ish. Let's find out. Probably about the middle of the road. Yeah, 135 thousandths, exact middle of the road. Okay, meat and potatoes. A tactical look, but not over the top. The holes just for looks. The lines, maybe a little bit of grippiness. In some ways, it makes me think of the Benchmade AFO2, which is a really cool knife. I like it, but it's manual. Ergonomically, very purposeful, very comfortable, very functional. I'm comfortable. It was a joy to use. Thumb studs out of the cutting path. Blade, fully flat ground, or very nearly with a small swedge. Edge is about medium. It's not super duper thin or anything like that. There's your plunge grind. I think the plunge grind is pretty good there. A lot of life. The lock bar is attached to the frame. There's plenty of tension there. It's all black underneath. They make a version of it that's not DLC, but at the time of this recording, it was sold out. You can check and see if it's still there. Very good. Jimping a little bit back here that is functional. This jimping up here also plenty functional. You can choke up, probably one knuckle. It's not a perfectly rounded choil, but it'll work, right? Just nice. It looks nice. The grit, I appreciate the texturing. It's really good. Pocket clip does not really create much of an ergonomic hotspot, though I think their placement of it is, what's the nicest way to put this? Insanely stupid. Why? Why do we, number one, don't put the pocket clip way up here towards the back, right? Here, angled, or, maybe like halfway on top of the lock bar, halfway on the frame, right? Here's what we have prioritized over this pocket clip. Screw, lanyard hole, other screw, like, come on. This does not need to be right here. It doesn't. In fact, this backspace, you could have left this here. This lanyard hole could have been a lanyard bar, and this screw could have been moved back to here. It would have been fine. Pocket clip should have been up here, probably angled, or like I said, halfway. The reason being is because nobody wants this much of the knife sticking out of their pocket. But the tactical, it's a quick deploy. I think that's nonsense. For what? Right? In and out of the pocket. The bill is a bit shallow. You kind of have to dick with it a little bit, and the tension is really high, right? So I think the pocket clip, it's just like they're like, oh, God. It's like they finished it, and they're like, oh, crap. We forgot to put a clip on it. Oh, just screw it in right there. That's what it looks like. This looks like a pocket clip on a knife from 2010. Everything else about the knife is really cool. Pocket clip position needs to be up higher. Doesn't need to be ultra deep. I'm not saying deep clips are always better. But, like, this is too much. Sticking out of the pocket. Like, that's where it's just crazy. It's a quarter of the knife. Pocket clip moved up here. You need the bill higher. Get the ramp off of this. The ramp off the MXG deep carry clip. This clip works great because there's enough ramp to go up over the pocket seam, right? Angle it or run it halfway right here. Either way, it needs to be deeper. This should be 3/4 of an inch, at least half an inch higher, in my opinion. You also need to have an option for lefty carry. Got a nice backspacer back here, a little bit of jimping. Nothing feels unfinished. It all feels very, very nicely finished, right? There's no billboarding anywhere. Just number 157. These are limited. No billboarding anywhere except for on the clip, which I do appreciate. I think that's really, really nice. It has a look that is a tool. In fact, a lot of people would look at this knife and think this is just some, cheap knife. Like people who didn't know better would just say it's some cheap knife made by Kershaw. It's like a Chinese Kershaw or something like that, right? Because there's no markings on it anywhere. There is kind of a benefit to that. It's a super high quality tool made with high quality premium materials, but there's no big indicator that says, steal me, I'm worth a lot of money, right? We don't really talk about that often. People do steal pocket knives, right? And they're a lot more tempted by something if you know for sure. Like if you recognize it, somebody sees a Benchmade or a Spyderco laying out on a table and they know anything about pocket knives, they're probably going to grab it, right? This just looks like it could be anything, you know. I don't know. I kind of like that. It's a little bit of a sleeper. We have weight reduction even in the lock bar, which is cool. It doesn't need to be there, but it's cool. We have a steel lock bar insert that doubles as the over travel stop, so that's nice. Your stop pin is actually the spacer right there. You can actually see on the inside there is no bar at all. There's a lump of material that sort of lines up. I bet we could see where it's impacting exactly on that crease right there. I don't know if it's, yep, right there is where it's impacting. Lockup. Absolutely solid. No blade play up, down, left, to right. No lock stick. No pivot lash. As consistent as you'd want it, as smooth as you could hope for with phosphor bronze. Nice clicky detent. Thing has been perfectly centered the entire time I've had it. How much is it? Well, it's Riot. It's carbon fiber. The lock bar is titanium. Absolutely 100% is titanium. I know there are non-magnetic steels, but this is a titanium lock bar. Okay. We also, God, it's even the, I didn't show this, but even the carbon fiber is like chunked out for weight reduction here because there's no additional liner over here. It's all carbon fiber, which is plenty strong. Plenty strong. Lot of carbon fiber, a little bit of titanium, M390 DLC coated, 60 to 61 HRC, titanium backspacer, running on phosphor bronze. This is a $290 knife. That's a lot of money. Is it justified? I think they're a little high, not much. If this had been $250, it would have blown me away. $275 is what I expected to see. It's slightly high, right? It's doing some cool stuff. It's doing some interesting stuff, and it's also like, this is a design, it seems like this is a design team using Riot's OEM services, and Riot charges a lot for their OEM services. In a lot of ways, it's kind of surprising that this knife didn't cost $350 just because Riot made it, which they have done before, right? It's gotten to the point where WE Knives is actually worse than Riot about that. This is a good knife. I like it. It's got a lot of really utilitarian stuff. It's fun to use. It feels like a tool. For people who feel like this territory in the knife world has just prioritized the dressy pocket jewelry stuff, I bet this is a breath of fresh air for a lot of people. I think, you know, on the other hand, there's a ton of people who would look at this and say it's super boring. Like, it might be a good tool, but there's tons of good tools on the market, right? It depends on who you are. Realistically, though, generally speaking, I mean this. And there's no affiliate links for this. I like this knife. This is a super recommendable knife. The only thing that sucks is the depth and position of that pocket clip. It's so weird. You know? That's rich coming from you, Complex. Didn't your own design have a crappy pocket clip in Gen 1? Yeah, you got me there. It did. We fixed it. But you're right, it did. So take what I say about the clip with a grain of salt there. I don't like the clip. I think if they had a better position for the clip, I think that, and they had marked this thing at like 275 or so, I'd have been like, this is perfect. I really like this. You need a lefty mounting position, right? You don't need this lanyard hole, guys. You can do a lanyard bar. Like we've been doing that for a while, right? Nest your clip too. It looks kind of poopy, just like sitting up on top of the scale like that. Outside of that, though, really good job. Really cool design. Very purposeful design. I like it. That's going to be it. Please, links in the description for this guy. Check it out. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.